The Constitution of Kenya 2010 under Article 42 provides that every person has the right to a clean and healthy environment. Further, Article 43(1)(b) provides that every person has the right to accessible and adequate housing and to reasonable standards of sanitation, while Article 69 provides that the state shall ensure sustainable management and conservation of the environment. Kenya has invested immensely in providing adequate housing stock to its citizenry. This investment has greatly contributed to overall economic growth and development. With rapid urbanization and increased demand for housing, the existing stock has continued to diminish and deteriorate. Thus, maintenance of the housing stock cannot be wished away. The housing stock is characterized by sick buildings that are unhealthy, unsafe, and run-down building investments that are uneconomical and unsustainable.
When you move around our country, you see so many buildings. Once they're built, they're put up, there's nothing in terms of maintenance that goes into those buildings. Presently, we don't have a law that compels the owners of buildings to maintain certain standards in terms of looking after those buildings. So we have come up with a maintenance policy that will compel both government and even private individuals to maintain the buildings that they work in or live in.
The Ministry of Housing has embarked on the process of formulating a national building maintenance policy, along with building surveyors legislation, to ensure professionalism in maintenance and regulation of the building surveying profession. This policy and legislation, alongside the National Building Regulations and the Built Environment Bill 2012, are expected to bring sanity and order in the built environment.
We intend to develop certain laws and guiding principles and structures that will ensure that once a building is completed the way the standard has said it should be completed, it is used and maintained in such a way as to maximize its life to the level at which the standard anticipated. So there is a process towards that, and we are bringing in the role of a building surveyor to ensure that these buildings live to the anticipated life, are in good state of maintenance, are sustainable in matters of health, because we have buildings which actually cause health problems once you live in, and then we would ensure that these do not occur in our newly restructured and the built environment that we are looking at.
The formulation process of the National Building Maintenance Policy and Building Surveyors Bill adopted a consultative and an all-inclusive approach that involved institutions of higher learning, professional bodies, private consultants, relevant government departments, stakeholder ministries, civil society, human rights bodies, non-governmental organizations, and private developers and manufacturers of building materials. The formulation process started in March 2011 and was inspired by the dilapidated state of the existing building stock in the country, preamble to the Constitution, which commits the people of Kenya to sustaining their environment for the benefit of future generations, Article 21(2), which empowers the government to take policy and legislative measures necessary for implementation of Article 42 and 43(b), that gives the people of Kenya the right to live in a clean environment, and Article 43(b), that gives the people access to adequate housing and reasonable standards of sanitation. The formulation process was also inspired by Vision 2030, National Housing Policy 2004, technological advancement as well as environmental changes.
There are basically three very important issues which inspired the formulation of the National Building Maintenance Policy. One of them being the condition of our building stock. The condition of our building stock is appearing. We have buildings which we can really call them sick buildings. They have leaking roofs, they have peeling out paints, they have sewers that are just causing health hazards, and therefore there is a need to address all those issues so that we live in a clean environment.
Maintenance means work undertaken in order to keep or restore every part of the building and associated infrastructure to a currently acceptable standard to sustain its value. It includes inspection, organizing, repair, refurbishment, rebuilding, rehabilitation, reclamation, and renewal, among other maintenance works. The management and maintenance of buildings and related infrastructure in Kenya is a neglected field. Consequently, maintenance works are carried out in an ad hoc manner with few or no records kept. There is also low budgetary allocation and prioritization. This has led to backlog maintenance that is expensive and difficult to clear, run-down investments that are uneconomical and unsustainable, sick buildings that are unhealthy and unsafe, decaying environment that depresses the quality of life and contributes to poor health, low productivity and antisocial behavior, and collapsed buildings. Lack of maintenance can be attributed to absence of building maintenance policy, existence of multiple, outdated and conflicting legislations and regulations, existence of multiple institutions charged with overlapping responsibilities on maintenance works, lack of capacity to enforce compliance, inadequate maintenance resources, and a management framework for quantifiable and measurable standards.
The main maintenance policy document has 8 chapters, and the 8 chapters start off with the key issues, problem statement, and then have policy statements, how we are going to handle the problem.
The National Building Maintenance Policy will be a roadmap to guide effective restoration, preservation and refurbishment, setting standards, training and deployment of manpower, financing through appropriate budgetary systems, enactment of appropriate legislations and regulations, enhancing capacity building to both owners and users, establishment of institutional and legal framework, review, repeal, and enact appropriate legislations. The policy notes that implementation framework must be shared at all levels of government, that is, national, county, urban, and city governments, and proposes the establishment of a building maintenance directorate and the proposed National Building Authority with the capacity to coordinate inspections and maintenance of all buildings.
We don't have a vocabulary of the culture of maintenance. So what then this has accumulated to is that even the little built environment that we have, we don't maintain it. And it has gone to such extent that they are not only dangerous, but they are extremely sick. And they are actually sick in that literal sense, in the sense that you stay there and you actually become sick. And they are sick from various points of view. We have sick buildings that are not meeting any standards. They are so narrow that you cannot even get to them. For me, those are sick buildings, just waiting either to collapse and so on.
The culture of maintenance that is lacking can be inculcated through the implementation of the National Building Maintenance Policy as a framework for management of existing housing stock.
The policy will be implemented through the National Building Authority. That is what we've suggested. And this National Building Authority has several departments. So we are arguing that the maintenance department will be part of this authority, so that we don't again go back to the issues of duplicating roles from one authority to another. And therefore the maintenance department will also be a link to all the other departments that deal with the built environment. This will trickle down from a national level to the county levels.
In order to ensure realization of the anticipated benefits and objectives of the proposed National Building Maintenance Policy, there is urgent need to strengthen and legislate the services of the building surveyors in Kenya.
The Building Surveyors Bill is supposed to legalize the services offered by a building surveyor. That is actually to control and basically is really to control the building surveying services and the profession dealing with those services.
A professional building surveyor is a person with academic qualification and experience in the requisite technical knowledge and expertise in the practice of maintenance and management of the built environment. The building surveyor nurtures the building and interprets the interrelationships for the benefits of the landlords or owners, tenants and users for the rest of its life. There are qualified and trained building surveyors in Kenya, the majority of whom are in the Ministry of Housing. What has been lacking is legislation to govern and control building surveying services like in other professions. The building surveyors, as the authorized persons, will play a critical role in ensuring that Kenya enjoys safer, attractive and well-planned built environment. The benefits of the regulated building surveying profession include increased housing stock arising from prudent management and maintenance of the existing stock as per Part 3 of the National Housing Policy 2004, provision of clean, healthy and safe environment as per Article 42 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, provision of adequate and affordable housing as per Article 43B of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, sustenance of returns from investment, prolonged lives of buildings will ensure additional stream of income, instilling professionalism, creating friendly, healthy and a safe working environment. The establishment of a Building Maintenance Directorate under the proposed National Building Authority shall see this dream come true. Given the wide acceptance by stakeholders in the built environment, the proposed National Building Maintenance Policy and Building Surveyors Bill 2012 should be implemented as a matter of priority so as to guarantee a safer and attractive built environment. Together, we can make the difference.